Hello and welcome to IT Career in Australia channel. And today Ben and I will share with you the best resume template for software engineering jobs in Australia. There is a lot of advice there about what you need to include in your resume. But today we're offering a readily usable template that you can seamlessly adapt to enhance your resume. You can incorporate the right keywords to help you get through that applicant tracking system. In the current challenging tech market landscape, it's crucial for your resume to immediately capture the employer's attention. So Ben and I will demonstrate today how to achieve this without investing countless hours tailoring your resume for each job application. Before we share a template, just over to Ben to introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks, Jana. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben. I manage CV writers and IT CV writers. Over the last 8 years, our company's been working with thousands of people in the IT industry, including hundreds of software developers. And we work with software developers at every level, right from graduate through to lead developers, heads of engineering, and so on. So today I'll be sharing the template, more or less the full template that we use with all of our work with clients, and giving you some recommendations on best practices for software development. As Jana said too, for the Australian market.
Yes, perfect. Let's jump into it. And first, before we go to some top tips, let's just talk us through your template. Do you have a particular structure? What do you like to put in the top? What you like to put next? So what would be like the ideal structure that you usually advise people to do?
Yeah, thanks, Jana. So I'll just step through the template elements for everyone so you can see the building blocks of a good software engineering CV. Starting at the top, job titles and keywords, a little introduction, which is sort of your executive summary, some highlights from your career. And these are technical skills. So these are your credentials effectively as a software engineer. So we'll come back and talk a bit more about those. We've got a tech skills table. This is a really powerful element for engineers, architects, hands-on technical people in IT. Then we've got our professional experience section. No sort of surprises here, but there's some best practices I can talk about here, particularly keyword optimization as a feature. One of the things we've got down here is a bit of a project showcase here. So that's an opportunity to sort of showcase a project you've worked on. In terms of the order of things, I'm all about front page impact, page one impact. I like to talk about top of the fold, it's a newspaper term. Basically, the top half of page one needs to really sell you as a candidate. It needs to be eye-catching and engaging, and the recruiter's going to spend 5 seconds looking at your CV. So it needs to touch all the right points. It needs to have the job title, keywords, and some highlights, and then really get me engaged to dive into your CV a bit more.
Perfect. Let's go through a few of these elements in a little bit more details. So first one, obviously, job title optimization.
The most important thing on your CV, don't overlook it. Just because you've got a close match, close match is not good enough. So if you've got software developer and the job title is software engineer, that's not a one-to-one match. So if I wanted to, I could just quickly change this to lead software engineer. And that's a one-to-one match with the job I'm applying for. That's what you need to have. So job titles are absolutely critical. We feature them here. You also they're featured in your professional experience. So you want to make sure you've got the right job titles. And you can have multiple job titles too. So if your last job title was senior engineer, you can put senior engineer brackets software developer. So you can make your own job titles, but they're absolutely critical.
Yep, definitely. That's kind of bring us to that second point, the keywords optimization.
100%. So this is where it's at. So keywords, it's not rocket science how this works. The ATS software is going to see if your profile has a certain keywords in it. I've got a few tips. You can repeat them multiple times. So for example, Node.js might be a feature keyword here. We've got it on the sub headline here, which is a really nice little tool in the CV layout. We've also got it in the first sentence. And we also would be featuring that further down on the page here, in these sentences here. So we're repeating it, 3 or 4 times just on page 1 alone, and then we're repeating it further down in the document. Now, you can just tweak these words to match what the job ad is asking for. You can't just put words in that obviously you haven't had any experience in, but you can just adjust these for different roles. And that only takes a matter of literally seconds to just edit a few words.
I love this idea about sub-headline, because you really can bring it to recruiters' attention that you work with those tools instead of the recruiter trying to find it through your whole resume.
Exactly. Don't make them hunt for those details. The recruiter has a few things in their head. They've got a mental checklist, or it's the checklist that's in the job ad. I'm looking for someone, they've got to have Node.js and got to have React experience. Don't make them hunt for that information, put it right in front and center, right in front of their eyes.
Yeah, perfect. We just kind of bring us to the next point, technical skills.
So a lot of people just in their technical CV just bullet point out all their tech skills that they have. You really, to perform well, you need to have a bit more substance in that. And that's I think the main difference in the way we approach CV writing is to gather the facts, and you want to put forward evidence-based statements that back up your technical skills. So don't just tell me you're a front-end developer. Tell me, how many years of experience. What are the languages and tools and libraries that you've used? How many projects have you delivered? What CI/CD tools have you used? So a lot of people just stop by just putting the bullet point, CI/CD, with no substance behind it. And again, you're making the recruiter work to go and find all that information out and answer their question. So the other feature that we do, and this is a really very powerful tool for tech profiles. So I use this with architects, developers, testers, people, network engineers, people who are hands-on with tech, is this tech skills table. So this is another place where you can repeat certain keywords, and you can provide a little bit of information about, what's your level of skill, how many years of experience.
I've noticed you have this self-rating column there, and I feel like sometimes it's quite subjective. I've definitely spoken with some hiring managers who would say oh, it's great that you have the safe rating, but some of them oh, I don't like then the candidate puts self rating. I need to assess their technical skills. I don't care what they think about their skills.
Yeah, totally. It's totally subjective too. It's a self-rating. It's not scientific. And a lot of roles you go for as an engineer are going to have some technical assessments, right, and testing. So just be modest. Don't put 5 stars in too many areas, especially really complex areas. Like if you've only had a couple of years experience, coding in JavaScript, I probably wouldn't put 5 stars down. And keep in mind that the person you're talking to may consider themselves a 5-star expert in that area, right? So be modest, but, as you grow in your career and you specialize in particular areas, I'm going to expect you to, be very confident and be putting 5 stars down for, some areas.
And skip the skills that you have 1 star.
You skip 1 star. Yeah, this is not about everything you've ever, you studied one time or something you played around with. This is about a genuine level of competence, right? So things that you've generally got a professional competency with.
Yeah, definitely. The next point we want to cover is the projects and achievements. So where would you put those?
Well, I would feature them in the top, really very early in the CV. You want to give the recruiter a sense of the projects you've delivered. And ideally, I'd like to probably put a link in here, a hyperlink there that I could click through to find out, what were one of those projects. Now, when you start out in your career, you're not going to have all these amazing products and apps that you've developed, but it doesn't matter, right? It's about giving some context. What have you been working on? In your last role, what project did you work on? So being really clear about it, and ideally, I'd actually want to have a GitHub link up here for this person, and ideally having a link here and look, guys, if you're starting out, it might be a personal project that you've done, but giving some context to what you've been doing. You can also do this further down in the role when we go into our professional history. It's just doing a bit of a feature. Hey, this is what I worked on. and I delivered this program on time. It was a Node.js project.
And I guess if you have extensive experience, you have those list of projects that you can put on the top, depends what sort of position you're applying for.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this first page, this is a senior profile. It's got quite a lot of information. Don't worry if yours, you have less detail. It's just about being concise and factual and providing those project details, especially if you've worked for a company that it's not a recognized brand name or well-known company. Tell me about what the product is. What did you develop? Was it a mobile app? Was it a SaaS product? Was it a website? And ideally link out to something I can look at.
Yep, definitely. And last but not least, the delivery skills.
Last but not least, yeah. And look, some of the best software developers, like to sit in the dark room with the headphones on and just write code, and they don't really have good people skills. But hey, if you've got other people skills and soft skills, delivery skills, put them on your CV. So for example, like if you've worked with clients, maybe you've helped define a product roadmap. Maybe you've got good agile skills because you've worked for several years in a large, agile environment. Maybe it's DevOps. So having some of those additional points in there about, maybe client-facing experience, or maybe your agile credentials, or methodologies, just sort of rounds out your experience. Testing, what stages of the SDLC have you worked in? Have you done production support or design or roadmaps? So that all just helps round out your appeal as a candidate.
So much information here. Thank you, Ben. And for everyone out there, if you want a more comprehensive feedback on your resume and some help of writing your resume, so make sure to head to the cvwriters.com.au and you can book the complimentary free assessment of your resume. I'll make sure I'll put that link in the comments of this video. And of course, I trust you find this video helpful, and don't forget to tune into my weekly live discussion where you can engage directly with some industry experts. And if you're in Melbourne, consider joining my tech walking event in Albert Park as well. Of course, subscribe to this YouTube channel for more tips, and hopefully we'll see Ben giving some more advice in the future as well.
Thanks, Jana. I'd love to join you again for another chat. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.